Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome back to the KW Command 66-Day Challenge 4.0, and today is day 33. So we are continuing on with our ZipForm video series of training, and so I have logged into ZipForms. Previously, I showed you how to start a transaction and then create a template and then add that template to that transaction, and we've done that in this case. So here's one of our transactions. If I click on documents, you can see I've brought in my buyer template. So I have all of my buyer docs. All of those are pre-filled with the information that I pre-filled when I actually built out the template. Now I can start adding people to this transaction so that their information will also come in. So I'm going to click on the Parties tab, very similar to the Details tab in DocuSign, except it's going to be Parties. And then you can see I have all of these people that I can assign roles to, or the roles are already here. I can assign people to all of these roles. So let's do buyer one. We're just going to put in my wife, and we'll put in her information here. Let's put in her address. All right, so now I've got all of that information added. And so now you can see she's been added in as buyer one. So now when I go into my documents, you'll see that because I've added her as a party, her information actually shows up. So here's her name, her address. It looks like I didn't put in the phone number, so I would add in the phone number, and then I could save, and then go on to the next document and kind of work my way through. So now all that should be left are transaction-based blanks. So my people blanks are all filled in. All of my blanks, my personal information has been filled in from the template. So now it's just a matter of actually filling in the additional blanks for your contracts. So I would just come through and go through, fill out all of these blanks that were pertinent to this actual transaction. I'm not going to go through and do all of that, but you would see how we would go through all of those documents and get them all filled out and ready to go. Once we have done that and it's time to send them off for signature, we're going to click on the e-sign button here on the left-hand side. So here's e-sign, and you can see it says click new to send documents for signature. So here's the new button. So I'm going to click on new. It's going to show me all of the documents that are in my transaction. So I'm just going to click on this document tab here, and you can see it actually checks all of them. You can see it also brings them in down here. And then I can also add external documents. If I have any flat PDFs or anything saved on my computer, I could bring those in using this button. Once I've done that, it's basically going to say, okay, is this correct? Everything looked good? Yes, it does. I'm going to change the packet name just to make sure that it's clear what's included in this. So I might say 123 Main Street initial offer docs. Just like in DocuSign, you always want to make sure that your envelope is appropriately labeled. Same thing here for ZipForms. It's just called a packet instead of an envelope. I'm going to make sure I'm using DocuSign as my signing service, and then I can click on Next. And it's going to say, okay, are these all of the parties? Do we need to add any parties? So you can see that I could come in and add additional parties, and then I want to check off who's going to be involved in the signing of these documents. So I as the buyer's agent, and then Nicole as the buyer. So I click on close. Then you can see, similar to DocuSign, I get the signing order. So I can alternate that if I want. I can move them back and forth, where Nicole would be first, I would be second. I could also say, hey, let's just sign it at the same time. So we could do 1 and 1. My recommendation is that the agent is always 1 and the client is 2, unless there's something that the client actually has to fill out on the document itself. So I'm going to click on Next. And then you'll see it actually gets real familiar because it's actually now connecting ZipForms into DocuSign so that we can now send off these documents. So here is DocuSign literally within the ZipForm shell. And you can see all of this should look real familiar. So I'm going to just scroll down. There's nothing to sign on the transaction sheet. Then we get into the broker notice. Okay, it's already got her signature and date signed dropped in. Mine is here too, so hers over here, mine over here. Okay, that all looks good. And then literally I can just go through all of the documents and make sure that they have been brought in initials and signatures appropriately. If for any reason I missed a blank, so maybe I'm going through and I say, oops, I definitely sent her the general information and notice. I want to make sure that that is checked. So I could bring in a checkbox here and then check it, or using the checkbox values. There we go. If there was maybe there's a text line that I need to bring in that I forgot to bring in, I could always go in and say, oops, I forgot to put in the name of the sellers. So let's drop in the text. This is the exact same process that I've trained you guys how to do within DocuSign as well. So now we've got Susie seller entered, and so on and so forth. So from there, guys, the process is exactly the same. You're just going to go through, you can do the recipient preview if you'd like, or you can click on send, and it's going to send your documents off to your party to have them ready to go. It says thanks for using DocuSign. I can close. It takes me back into my actual transaction. So tomorrow I'm going to show you what it looks like to actually sign those documents and then bring those into your KW Command opportunity. As always, guys, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Hope everyone's having a great Monday, and I'll look forward to speaking with you tomorrow.